Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening for those of you that are here normally for my lives. I always open up the same way because I do think it's so super cool that no matter where we are in the world, at whatever time we are, what time zone we are in, we are continuously, we have this ability to all come together at the same place and same time. So I'm super excited that you guys are here. Today, I am doing a solo event. We had a guest who just had an incident or an issue that arose. And so we've rescheduled her. So I'm super excited to have her next month. So looking forward to having her then. Today, what we're going to talk about is really about this modern sales strategy, the modern world of selling that we're in today, and the sales strategy associated with. If you think about in terms of, well, first off, just so everyone knows, I'm here in Houston, Texas. So, it'd be great if you could share with us below where you're located, whether you are live or if you're on team replay. Let us know where you're located and tuning in from. So I'm here in Houston, Texas. And as a reminder, I'm Denise Martha Bachman. Sellovatorz is my sales program. I talk about all things sales, AI, and humanity related. And this is really the sales aspect or the sales arm of my pillar. So today, what we're going to focus on is really this modern sales strategy that we live in this modern sales world. And I just published my newsletter last night surrounding this as well. But when we think about selling today, we all know it's evolved. It's changed dramatically. It's not something that just happened overnight. Quite honestly, it's something that started way back when. And as people are joining, hi, by the way, be sure to drop us a note below where you're located. And this will not probably be a lengthy session, but I do, I'm a firm believer that regardless of whether it's in sales or, in anything else we do, it's about executing, right? The best laid plans are nothing if they're not executed on. And so while I had a guest that was supposed to be here today, she had something that transpired. And so she'll be joining us in June. So I'm super excited to have her then. And I could have streamed a session that I'd already done, but instead I really just wanted to jump on and execute, right? They say the hardest type of live or podcast is one in which you're doing a solo event. So here I am doing it solo. And I wanted to talk really about this modern sales world that we live in today. And it's not something that just drastically just happened. It's been an evolution. I can remember back when I started at one of the companies where I stayed a actual long period of time. When I started there, it was, they had just had an acquisition. They brought on a brand new organization and they were all these 20-something-year-old guys, and it was all transactional based. They didn't care about relationship building. It was all about going in and closing the deal and getting back out and going on to the next. Quantity over quality. But there were those of us, and we're talking back in like early, maybe mid 2000s, right? Even during that time, we were still talking about what sales should be like, which is this consultative approach. So it's not something, again, that happened overnight. This modern sales world that we live in didn't just happen only purely surrounding the pandemic. It is something that has been evolving for a period of time. The difference is between, pre-pandemic and post-pandemic is that we as people, as buyers, have most certainly demanded that things change at a much faster pace than they did in the beginning. When we talk about transactional based, very similar to what I just mentioned, you went in, you found out what their problems were, you sold feature versus function. Maybe you attempted to sell to the root cause or to the problems that they were trying to solve to. But essentially, you just went in, you closed the deal, and you walked back out. The sales reps who have been successful over this long period of time have been because they've taken a different approach, which is that consultative approach, the one that we actually need to adopt today if we're going to survive in the sales world. And that is because we as buyers, as individuals, have also dramatically changed the way we look for relationships, the way we want to have these experiences, the way we are looking to find all things human, because we have all this noise and chaos with AI and new technologies being introduced. Differentiating ourselves, expecting others to be able to differentiate themselves with us. It is all about the human connection and the experience. And in order to foster that human experience and that human connection, we truly have to partner with our buyers. We have to understand the problems that they're trying to solve for. We also need to be empathetic. There needs to be trust and credibility with our buyers. And again, the only way we can do that is by approaching our sales opportunities as partnerships with our buyers, so that we become a consultant to them rather than a salesperson. I can tell you that what differentiated me from amongst any of my other sales peers was that I actually went in not only trying to uncover the problem, but I also understood the product I was selling, the industry that I was in, the business problems I knew I could solve to, such that I could have these conversations with them that fostered this connection, right? Most buyers have never really loved salespeople. They have managed to them, but they've never really loved them. And so having the ability to go in and have these conversations so that you can be a consultant to them means that you actually have to understand the product that you're selling. You have to understand the industry with which you're selling to. You have to understand the buying personas, the challenges that they're being faced with, what other organizations are, how they're solving to. So some industry standards. Those are all things that we have to be equipped to truly know when we engage with our buyers, so that we can truly be that consultant. So I think in a consultative selling strategy, there are a couple of things there are three key factors that we have to do. We have to uber personalize. Oh, look, can you see the thumbs up there? We have to be able to uber personalize. We also have to be, one of them is to be able to uber personalize. And the way we do that is we understand more about the company, our buyers that we're working with, the industry, again, everything that I've listed before, so that we can have conversations that are more than just subsurface or surface level, that they are true deep conversations. We are adding value because we understand what they're trying to accomplish. We understand the challenges that they're being faced with. We know what their buying history looks like, where they traditionally spend money on, what a buying cycle might look like for them, so that we can adopt our strategies and our conversations and our lines of questioning to them. And that is uber personalization. That is one way we uber personalize. So I think that when we talk about the consultative approach, and I want to thank everyone for being here. As you are here, let us know where you are located right now, where you're tuning in from. I'm here in Houston, Texas. It is actually really beautiful today. It has been horrible weather, so I'm super excited that I actually see the sun out. But we're talking about how you approach sales in this modern sales world that we live in, which is really being fostered or centered around the human connection. And drawing into that human connection, we have to truly take a consultative approach to selling. Those of us who do will see a lot more success. It is no longer the quantity, it is the quality of the conversations. It's not just the quality of the leads and the quality of the prospects, it's the quality of the conversations. It's the quality and depth from which we are engaging with them. It is understanding their problems. It is trying to help them solve their problems. I always think that when we are learning about what they're trying to accomplish, that we are as well. And Shazib, thank you for joining. Let me make sure I put comments up. Sorry. Hold on, I'm a bit slow. I can't get my mouse to move. He is joining us from Pakistan. And he says it's absolutely hot here because I think you guys are already in the summer or ending the summer. We are just now approaching the summer with our spring weather. Well, I think we bypassed spring. We went from winter. Well, we always go from winter to summer, but we're having some weird weather here. So I'm glad that you could join us. So thank you very much for being here. And we're talking really about the modern sales world that we live in, and new strategies that we have to adopt. And one of the things I talked about is that it's not just new, it's a strategy. And are you guys seeing, am I frozen? If you could just give me a thumbs up, because it looks like I might be frozen on my other. Okay, so maybe not. Summers are starting. Okay, so you have the same season that we're in. So thank you for sharing that with us. One of the things we talked about is that the modern sales world, the selling strategies that we have to adopt these days in order to be successful, is not something that just happened overnight. It's been an evolution. And I talked about how, and thank you. Oh, he said he's a big fan of my content. I appreciate that. And by the way, oh, it is frozen. Huh. Okay. Odd. Well, thank you for sharing that. I'm just going to keep going. So as an FYI, Shazib, one of the things that happened is that I had a guest that was planned to be here, and she had to move to June. She had an event, well, June only being because the rest of the dates were full. And so we couldn't just sheep it. I was going to talk German. We couldn't just move it to next week. We had to move it to June. And I am firmly rooted in the fact that we need to execute. And one of the hardest things to do is to do a live or a podcast by yourself. And so when incidences like this have been happening, I've still been trying to show up, because one, it's consistency, and two, it's executing, and three, it's kind of pushing me out of my comfort zone every single time. Each time that I'm doing this, it's out of my comfort zone and it's making me better at what I'm doing. So that all being said, we were talking about how, modern sales strategies have changed, they've evolved, but it didn't happen overnight. Back in, the mid 2000s, I can remember an organization that I belonged to where they had just had an acquisition, and the salespeople that they had brought in from that acquisition were completely transactional based. It was a one and done. You get in as fast as you can, you solved their problem, you close the deal, and you move out. The difference, though, however, is that these days it's not about the transaction. It's about the consultative approach. It's about making sure that we're partnering with our buyers, that we're solving to their problems. And one of the things that I was about to mention that I think is super important is when we're trying to uncover what probable root cause is, what we're trying to solve, it's even more important, or maybe super important, that we also understand what makes them a hero, right? When we help them solve this problem, how is that going to benefit them? What's going to be the value that they get out of this? Because that's ultimately what we want to do. We want to partner with them. And in order to partner with them, we have to understand what drives them. It's not just the problem that they're solving to, it's what's driving them at the root. Will they get a promotion because of this? Do they have KPIs that are tied to bonuses that this makes a difference? Is it just that they've been tasked with this, and this is really a project in which they get to prove themselves? Maybe it's a problem that's costing them, thousands and thousands and thousands, if not millions of dollars. And it would just be huge if they could come in and solve to that, right? Because then they know that they've saved the company money and they're no longer losing that cash flow. So it could be a multitude of reasons, but understanding not only the problem, but what is driving your buyer will truly ensure that you are partnering with them for success. So I think that the modern sales strategies didn't just happen overnight. They have been evolving. But what we have decided to actually take on is, and whether or not we've wanted to evolve with that has been, what has set us back some, or not maybe allowed us to be as successful as we wanted. But more importantly, what changed the dynamic, what caused it to move a bit faster, was this whole pandemic, right? We went from, working in a place of business and traveling to see our clients to all of a sudden being sequestered to our homes and isolated, not going into the office. And so we had to figure out how to adapt to that. We craved these relationships because we were, again, isolated at home. And so that really changed and shifted the way we as people interact now. Some obviously interact less. Others, however, interact a bit more, right? Because they craved that. So that all being said, we have had to adopt a new strategy. And what I find really super sad is that there are quite a few who've not yet adopted that. They still think that the quantity is more important than the quality. In fact, when I get the DMs where they're immediately pitching me their services, I ask them right away, how many of these do you send, and how many are actually converting to opportunities? Because one of the things that we touched on when we talk about the components that really make up a modern sales strategy, one of them is uber personalization. And you can go and read my newsletter for the other two, but one of them is uber personalization. So it's really understanding who you're actually attempting to engage with. So for example, I get quite a few who want to pitch getting new leads and getting new sales, but they obviously did not look at my profile that I'm a sales coach. While I am not opposed to learning more, in fact, I seek out ways that I can improve over what I'm doing, or that I can be better at even my own sales, or even coaching others in sales. What do I need to learn that has changed or shifted, or that I didn't even know about that now I thankfully do, right? So I'm constantly wanting to learn. But if they'd have taken a few moments and really understood that sales is my coaching business, they would have approached me in a different way. And that is where I think we are struggling. And unfortunately, when we have salespeople like that who aren't taking the time to uber personalize, understand who their prospect really is, what they do, what their challenges might be, they then cause the devaluation of all sales reps. I mean, when the more you hear people on LinkedIn talking about these cold DMs, the more you realize that people are being presented sales is being presented as a less than noble profession. And what my goal is along with multitude of other salespeople, is that we are trying to elevate the role of the sales position. We are trying to foster this concept that sales is a noble profession, because the reality is, without sales, you don't have a business. Sales is the lifeblood of any organization. And so when we do it in the right way, we not only elevate sales as a profession, but we also elevate sales within our organizations. So I could talk about this forever. And it's a little bit more fun usually when we have a guest. That being said, at least I wanted to make sure I executed. I wanted to talk about a modern sales strategy. I'm still need to get a little bit better at doing solo events like this, but I'm glad that I'm here, and I'm glad that I executed. We've got an amazing guest next week, Niraj Kapoor. If you don't know him, come and join us. And last week we had Heidi Solomon Orlick. So go back and check out that video and that session, because that was amazing. We talked about women who sell. Next week we have a whole topic, so I'm super excited about that. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone at the remainder of the week, at the remainder of all the lives that I do. Tomorrow is Caff-AI Chats. So everyone knows, I think, that I talk about sales, AI, and humanity and how to bring them together. This is really the sales arm of that content pillar. So it's all about selling strategies, how we can kill ourselves in 2024. Then I have AI. So I have Caff-AI Chats, where we talk about AI, some of the current news, and some of the things that some of these experts who are my guests are actually doing, and how they're potentially making a difference or the efforts that they are going through in order to foster this world where we're adopting and adapting to AI technologies, but still understand the negative implications should we as humans not remain engaged. And then the humanity side is the coffees with Denise on Fridays. And then I also have a couple of others that I've kind of sprinkled through. They all relate either to sales or humanity. But I'm so excited that you guys are here. Dan, great to have you join. And thank you. Hold on, let me get over there. Looking forward to them. So looking forward to the shows. I'm super excited. On Tuesdays, I do them at 9 a.m. Houston Central Time, Houston, Texas Standard Time. All right. On Tuesdays, I do Sellovatorz, this one right here, at 9 a.m. Central Time, which is Houston, Texas. And then on Wednesdays, I do the Caff-AI Chats at 9 a.m. as well. And on Fridays, I do Coffees with Denise at 10 a.m. And Peter, thank you. Very important thoughts that were shared today. I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys being here today. I'm super excited that I executed even when I was alone and by myself and didn't have a guest. I could have streamed a previous episode, and I have done that. And I am looking to stream future episodes so that when instances like this happen, I can just plug in a session. But we are super excited that the guest that was going to be here isn't just not showing up. Something transpired that caused her to not be able to be here. She will instead be here in June. So I'm super excited about that and looking forward to tomorrow. I'll be here at the same time on Wednesday morning for Caff-AI Chats. And this week we have we always have a phenomenal guest. That's usually not even a question, but tomorrow we have, oh yes, Nate. And Nate, I'm super excited about because he's got a phenomenal software. So he is in the AI space, has developed a software that really helps organizations get ahead of their finances so that they can potentially prevent layoffs and a multitude of other use cases. But that one really sparks interest in me because we're seeing so many layoffs, especially happening in tech sales. And then for my coffees with Denise, I have Chris Hennessy on Friday. And if you don't know him, he is amazing. He has his own story that I don't feel as comfortable sharing, that I'll let him share on Friday. He really does speak to all things human and humanity related. And he's got a great venture or a nonprofit that he's working on as well. So Shazib, thank you very much. I hope that I pronounced your name accurately, but it was a pleasure having you here. So thank you for allowing me to share these insights. I want to wish everyone a wonderful rest of their day. Look forward to seeing you next Tuesday here at 9 a.m. where we have Niraj with us. And tomorrow we'll have Nate at the Caff-AI Chats. And Friday we'll have Chris Hennessy for Coffee with Denise. So look forward to seeing you guys there. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks for bearing with me, and I will see you guys in the content after now. That was really horrible. I will see you guys in the content here on LinkedIn. Thanks. See, this is why I don't do them very often. Anyway, appreciate everyone. Talk to you later.